Good day. Today I want to talk to you about the new authenticity, or perhaps the new way your company needs to build trust with clients and customers. How you doing? My name is Matthew Ewell from Leading with Nice, where we want to help you inspire others, build loyalty, and get results. So recently you might have seen on TikTok or another social media channel some really hilarious videos of Tom Cruise doing some industrial cleaning, doing magic tricks. He was playing golf, etc., etc. But in reality, this wasn't Tom Cruise. It was just somebody in something that looked exactly and sounded exactly like him. It was a combination of efforts between a visual effects artist and a Tom Cruise impersonator. And they did this, they were very transparent up front about it, but they did this, the visual effects artist, just showcase their skill, and the impersonator to showcase their talents and abilities. I'll show you the page right now really quickly. So here it is on TikTok, Deep Tom Cruise. You can see parody, also younger. And just to give you an example of one of the videos, here's
right
one.
there, Steve. Hey, what's up, TikTok? Look, I do a lot of my own stunts, but I also do a lot of industrial cleanup, okay? It's important. So, obviously you keep your hands clean, but you need that exfoliating product to really cut through the grime. Okay, just another tip for you talkers, or the TikTok tips. I'm getting too old for that. I don't. Internet.
So, so as you can see, it's indistinguishable between the real Tom Cruise and this parody account. And what this did was, of course, internet forums and discussion and newspaper articles sprang up, imagining what this means for the ability to say, yes, this image or video I'm seeing is authentic. You know, this was done by one person. It took them several months, they said, on their computer. However, technology typically gets faster and easier, not slower and harder. So if that's what was done in 2 months by one professional today, what will be able to happen in 1 month, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years? So of course, the questions that were asked were the obvious. You know, how can we rely on video evidence in courts now? How can we trust what we're seeing on the news is true and accurate if this is so easy to do on TikTok? So why am I talking about this in a business communications video? Well, you know, I was reminded when I saw this of a Penn and Teller. They have a show called Fool Us where magicians come on and they do tricks, and Penn and Teller try to figure out how they're able to do it. So one magician came on, and part of his act was he had used AI software to take a bunch of samples of Penn's voice, and he created a conversation between him and Penn. And the reality is there's so much audio, video, pictures of us on the internet today and available and accessible that it's very easy for AI to construct you or me in a realistic way. You might have seen those images from Ancestry.com that brought 2D pictures to life so that our ancestors seem to move around in the photograph. And that's just something you can do for free on a website. So why does this matter? Well, it matters because into the future, customers and clients will begin to insist on you proving what you're supplying, your communications, what you're providing for them is authentic and real, or the first copy. So, for example, on a very small scale, when you have an online chat with a customer and you send it to that customer, and that's a record of what you might have agreed on or promised, they'll want to see some proof that this is actually authentic so that we can go back to a source and agree on that. And you might have heard of blockchain, and there's a lot of videos on blockchain, but at a high level, what it is this. It's a public ledger that keeps record of transactions. Now, you hear it a lot attached to Bitcoin and digital currency, but it can also be used for things like chats. It can say, oh, this chat is authentic and has not been altered. And it works well because the blockchain works in a chain. So if you alter one, it throws off the rest of the chain. It can be shown as being inauthentic. And of course, you don't want to do that. Now, the blockchain doesn't necessarily reveal all the intimate details of the thing, but it's a way of providing proof that this is authentic and unaltered. Now, speaking of another technology, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So you might have heard about this because art is being sold, and in sports memorabilia, it's being sold with an NFT to show that this is the first original digital copy of that thing. So think about it in this way. If you're a concert promoter or you own a sports arena and you're selling tickets, today we have a problem with fraudulent tickets. You buy it from an online ticket outlet and you go to the show, but what if you've bought that from a third-party seller, which often happens, and that ticket actually is a copy or a fake? Right now, and it's happened to me actually with tickets I had bought to a basketball game, I showed up and I had actually had the tickets, the original tickets, but somebody who knew how to make the barcode had made a copy and somebody else was in our seats, and I had to go and prove at the ticket window that, oh, here's the original order with my credit card, et cetera, and I was able to get in. But the people that had bought the fraudulent tickets, they didn't do anything wrong, they were just unaware and they lost out on some money. So a non-fungible token could be attached to those tickets so that when you buy it, you can see the NFT and you know you're buying the authentic ticket, even if you're buying on a third-party website. Also, I can see a time when today we expect our credit cards and online purchases to be authenticated and secure by third parties, usually banks. We want to see the lock in the browser window. I could see a time when, especially for resort and tourism industry companies, consumers will want to see some third-party verification that the images and the reviews that are left are authentic, that have been addressed by a third party as being true and unaltered. And that'd be a combination of blockchain and NFT technology would be used there. On Amazon, it's already a huge problem in authentic reviews on the website. And how can you trust that this 4.5-star, 5-star product, these reviews are actually real and not from a bot or paid for or produced all at once? So why do you care as a business owner, and why is this in a communications leadership video? Because as you go forward and you're hiring new IT professionals and new communications and marketing professionals, you want to be hiring people that are aware of this, that can speak this language, that can have an intelligent conversation with a third-party vendor that might develop this. It can put you ahead of the curve. Because what will happen is, if you're not aware of this, you're not thinking of this, if you're not having these conversations with your colleagues and people that you hire in these roles, when it starts hitting you in the face, you'll be so far behind. It'll be detrimental to your business. So this is what's coming down the line for proving your authenticity and building trust in just one way with clients and customers. If you want to speak more about this, or if you'd like to investigate leadership communications in a deeper way, please visit us on our website, leadingwithnice.com, and I look forward to speaking with you again. Have a great day.